We are continuing with our discussions on alkenes. This is part of Organic Chemistry 1, Markovnikov versus Anti-Markovnikov reaction. In Markovnikov reaction, HX is added across the alkene in such a way that the hydrogen adds to the carbon with the most hydrogen. Anti-Markovnikov reaction, on the other hand, is opposite of Markovnikov, so the hydrogen adds to carbon with the least number of hydrogen. Now, if we look at the example I have here, you'll see that carbon 1 and 2 are double bond carbons. Then we have to consider how many hydrogens are on each carbon. So you'll see that carbon 1 has 1 and 2 hydrogens, while carbon 2 has 3 hydrogens. And because of that, we say that carbon 1 has the most hydrogen, while carbon 2 has the least hydrogen. Carbon 1 is least substituted. Carbon 2, on the other hand, is most substituted. A Markovnikov reaction involves addition of hydrogen to carbon with the most hydrogen here, which is actually the least substituted carbon. So Markovnikov reaction involves addition of hydrogen to the least substituted carbon, or you can say the carbon with the most hydrogen. On the other hand, the anti-Markovnikov reaction gives the major product where hydrogen is added to carbon with the least number of hydrogens. So that's this carbon number 2 here, but it's actually the most substituted carbon. Anti-Markovnikov reaction, the major product will have hydrogen added to the most substituted carbon. In the first case, we add H and X across the double bond, carbon number 1 and carbon number 2. You lose the double bond, so I'm going to erase that. You lose the double bond, and then now you add hydrogen to the carbon with the most hydrogen, the least substituted carbon, while the halogen X adds to the other carbon, which is carbon with the least hydrogen or the most substituted carbon. For anti-Markovnikov reaction, you add H and X across the double bond in the opposite way, and this one requires peroxide. So anytime you see HX and peroxide, then that means what you're having is anti-Markovnikov addition. So now you're going to add hydrogen to the carbon with the least hydrogen. That's the second carbon. And then the halogen, the X, will add to the carbon with the most hydrogen. So just like what we did before, I'm going to erase the double bond and then show the addition of hydrogen. So hydrogen now adds to the carbon with the least hydrogen. That's the most substituted carbon, while the halogen X adds to the carbon that has the most hydrogen. So that's the least substituted carbon.